How's it going, guys? Well, today is the start of a new sort of series on this channel, and it's going to be focusing on, obviously, MMORPGs as a total, as we always try to do, but we are going to be talking about the things that certain MMORPGs do absolutely brilliantly, the things they do right, the things they excel at. So, let's talk about that, and today we are going to be talking about RuneScape 3, following up probably next by old school RuneScape, then Arcade, and then any other MMORPGs that I have played in the past and have played enough to know what exactly is their strengths in the game and what they do incredibly well with. As always, if you do enjoy the video, then make sure you drop a like to let me know that it was good, and also, if you do enjoy my content as a whole, then make sure you subscribe, because there'll be a lot more coming and you don't want to miss out on it. And also, a lot of you guys who watch my videos over and over again aren't actually subscribed yet, so hit that subscribe button, and not only does that make me realise that I'm doing something right, but it also makes my day. So, let's get into the video. So, RuneScape 3. This is a game that's come through a lot of change over the years and has had a lot of ups and a lot of downs. But it's a game that stuck with a lot of people, seeing as it was probably one of the first MMORPGs that a lot of people played, and it's definitely got that sort of charm about it that keeps pulling people back. You've probably heard the phrase before, you never fully quit RuneScape, you just take a break, and really, it's kind of true. In the recent months, I really have thought that RuneScape might have been a game that I really am getting towards dropping, but it really isn't, and I've noticed that in the last maybe week, coming back into the game and looking at it again for videos and realising that I'm never really going to drop this game. It's always going to be something that I have played a lot, and it's going to be something that entertains me no matter what, as it all means kind of too much to me. Well, what does this game do right? First thing that I think RuneScape 3 does absolutely perfectly is the PvE. Now, this is probably one of the biggest things for me to talk about in this list of things that I think they do right, and that's because the PvE in RuneScape 3 is probably the biggest focal point of the game. Getting to bosses and doing all the endgame bosses and content that way is something everybody strives for and everybody wants to get into, and really, that's the main focus of the game. Getting your max cape and stuff, yeah, that's absolutely great, but what does it do when you've got your max cape? It opens up a bossing portal for you to access all the bosses and do all of the high level content that comes with that over and over again with easy access. Well, that's not all the max cape does, but that's definitely a very big focal point for a lot of people to be getting it. So why do I say that the PvE or the bossing in this game is incredibly, it's just one of the things that they do right? Well, just look at the bosses and compare them to other games. Now, a lot of games these days that are really focusing on PvE content is going to be get a group of people and throw yourselves at it and spam your abilities. None of them really do anything other than damage the boss, and there's no real reason to be using that certain ability. It's just use a rotation that does the most damage. Now, in RuneScape 3, if you went into a boss's dungeon and you just ran at them and fired off damage and really didn't do anything else, the chances are 9 times out of 10 you're going to die, and you're not going to be able to get out of there without losing much of your health. And even if you do kill them, then it's not going to be worth it, because you're going to have spent so much money on food and supplies that getting the drop is just not going to be worth your time. So what sets the bossing apart from other MMORPGs is the mechanics for the bosses in this game, and that just makes you have to pay attention, put a lot of effort in, and learn all about the different abilities that you do get, and using your defensive abilities to make sure you can reflect back some damage or stop taking damage completely for a few seconds, or using resonance at the exact right time just so that you can turn that big damaging hit into a healing hit instead, and make your trips last a lot longer, being more efficient, and just throwing out ultimates and then using your threshold abilities in the right order to increase the max DPS, but using this at the right time and not just going as a full-on Zerg mode into somewhere and absolutely destroying it. Because there's even bosses in this game, if you took 50 people in, for example to Virago, none of them knew what they were doing, everyone's just attacking him, eventually they're all going to die and wipe just because of one specific mechanic that just wipes everybody unless you do the exact right thing that you need to do. Well, why is this a good thing, and why really does it matter that it's in this game and the other games don't really follow through? What makes this better and not just another game? Well, it gives such a rewarding feeling when you're killing bosses, and when you've learned something, and when you've been killing a Raxor for maybe 15 tries and you've still not quite got that kill, but then on your 16th attempt you finally get it because you've learned. You were dying to the acid wave that just dances around the room and absolutely destroys you, but you realise that once it hits you once, if you move, it then doesn't follow you and you can get another few hits in before you have to move again. Then you get this rewarding feeling, especially if you've worked that out yourself, and it just makes you realise that all the effort you put in is actually worth it, where in other games, you run at a boss, there's hundreds of people there just attacking it, it goes down, you didn't really have to think about it, you just mashed some buttons, did as much damage as you can, and hope for the best. So overall, PvE and bossing in RuneScape 3 is a hell of a lot better than a lot of other games, and it's definitely something that JAGEX have got absolutely spot on for this game. The second thing that I feel RuneScape 3 does absolutely amazingly kind of ties in with probably the same in old school RuneScape. But anyway, this is getting a sense of achievement out of the things you've worked towards in this game. Now, I'm sure every MMO does give this feeling once you do achieve something you've been working towards, but the real rewarding sense of achievement that you get in RuneScape after you've done your first 99, you've spent hours and hours grinding towards this one skill up to 99, and you finally get it, you go pick up that skill cape, that feeling really is not matched in any game that I've really played, and it's just something that comes directly from all the hard work that you have to put in to getting your achievements. Now, like I said, you spend a lot of hours trying to get your first 99. Depending on what it is, some of them you can get really quick these days, but other ones like Herblore take you a long time to get because chances are you've had to put in a lot of time to get that GP to even buy the stuff, and then you've still got to sit there and make thousands of potions. Well, once you reach that 99 and you unlock everything you've wanted to unlock through that skill, the sense of reward that you get isn't even linked to the cape. It's the fact that you've got it and the fact that you've put all that time in, you've gotten to where you want to get, and it's not even a feeling you can explain without having been there and done it for yourself. RuneScape definitely has a good way of rewarding you and making you feel like everything you've done has been absolutely worth all the time you've invested. And that is how, when people ask me, how can you play a game that's so grindy, it's because I got to that first achievement, I got the taste of a reward that this game gives you, and it makes you really think that all the time you put in, all the hard work is absolutely worth it, and that is something that every MMORPG really needs to nail on the head, and RuneScape has definitely done it. Number 3 on this list is kind of something that goes both ways on being something they've got absolutely perfect, but at the same time it's kind of something that's quite scary for the game. However, it doesn't change the fact that it's something that is incredibly good for this game at the same time and makes people feel like it's really important and gets them hooked onto this game even more. And that's the items and the fact that they feel incredibly important and valuable to the person that holds them. Now, I'm not talking about your usual bones and food and potions and whatnot, but I'm talking about the items like your weapons, your gear, and anything that you work towards that costs an expensive amount of money, and you really have to put a lot of time and effort into it getting them. But the reason that they're so precious to people is probably because they're so easy to lose. And now, even in RuneScape 3, a lot of the time your stuff's kind of protected. If you die, then you could just reclaim it from death, but it's not even that, it's the fact that you can easily trade these items away, or if you died in the wilderness, you'd lose them, or things like that. Now, the reason that this makes it so much more precious to have items, specific items in this game, is because other MMORPGs really do protect your items. And what I mean by that is you can't really trade items in other games as in gear and stuff. Think about Arcade. You can't take off your Hiram gear and trade it to another person. It just can't be done. And look at Black Desert Online. You could possibly put them on the auction house and sell it, but you can't go with another person and trade it directly to them. But this just removes the whole fact of people in RuneScape have been scammed. People in RuneScape have been lured into the wilderness and lost their items. It's so easy to lose your items in this game, and it takes so long to get them. It's not something that's handed to you and then you upgrade it. It's something that you have to work for, put in the time, killing low level monsters until you're stronger, killing the next level monsters, collecting thousands of things and putting them on the Grand Exchange, or finding other incredible ways to make money in this game, and then buying the item that you finally wanted. Now, a lot of people in this game want these precious items. Now, the reason I said this is a bad thing for the game at the same time is all the scammers, the lurers, the hackers, people trying to get their hands on other people's expensive, valuable items. But it just goes to show that this game has items that matter to people. People really care about getting these items. They realise the wealth of it, and it really is something that hooked people into the game. If you've got an account with billions and billions of GP worth of items and stuff, how gutted would you be if you logged in one day and all of that was gone? You would be gutted. You'd be absolutely gutted. But if your account on Arcade got hacked, you could lose your gold and you could lose maybe some crafting materials. But when you log on, your gear's still going to be there unless someone destroys it, but your gear won't be gone and you can rebuild fairly easily. If someone hacked you on RuneScape 3, everything's going to be gone. You're going to be starting completely from scratch except for your levels, and you're going to be absolutely gutted to lose those items. So, items in this game are incredibly precious and they feel important and valuable to players, and this is something that RuneScape have got spot on and definitely do right, because it makes you care a lot more about the game and the stuff you've worked towards. Moving on to number 4, the next thing I think that RuneScape 3 has done absolutely brilliantly, and just really wouldn't be the same game without it, is the fact that there's no classes in this game. You do have combat styles, but you can just switch those mid-fight just by equipping different gear and equipping a different weapon. Then this will allow you to use that combat style, and there's a lot of bosses in this game and a lot of content where switching to a different combat style mid-fight is something that's going to benefit you a lot, or may even be something that you absolutely need to do. So it's definitely something that makes you feel like you are able to do whatever you want to do in this game, because if you are in another sort of game and you're in mid-fight, yes, you may still be able to change to a different class at some point in the game, but usually if you're in combat, it won't let you equip another weapon, it won't let you change class or anything like that, so you're stuck on those same abilities that you've got. Whereas in RuneScape, if you want to go into a fight starting off as a ranger, shooting arrows or using crossbows on the enemy boss, then you can do so, and then suddenly you can swap over to some swords and dive in on them and just deal damage that way as well. Obviously, certain bosses do have weaknesses to different combat styles, so it definitely helps to be able to switch combat mid-fight, because some bosses even change their weaknesses during the fight. So the Calfight King, for example, he changes his combat style throughout the whole fight, and he even protects from that certain style using prayer, and it makes it so you have to absolutely have a switch to be able to kill the Calfight King efficiently. And also, it just means that there's a higher skill cap in all the bossing situations, and people have to work out which combat style to do is best, and also when to switch and when you need a switch. It just increases the skill cap and makes the whole sort of bossing experience in this game a hell of a lot better. I feel like if RuneScape had classes, didn't let you switch combat styles but while you're in combat, it just would be a completely and utterly different game, and it would ruin a hell of a lot of something that they've made absolutely brilliantly in this game. Well, the fifth and final point that I want to talk about in this video, because it's getting fairly long now, and this is probably going to be quite a long one as well, but I'll try and keep it as short as possible. The quests. The quests in RuneScape are probably the best quest experiences I have ever seen in any MMORPG ever made. Now, the reason I say this is, if you go and play any of the really big MMORPGs these days, they're going to be telling you to go and kill 12 of this, come back, hand it in, go and pick up this and deliver it to someone who really just couldn't be bothered doing it themselves, or they're going to be going off and saying, go and collect this, chop down a tree, and it's just going to be all just kill and collect and hand in. Whereas in RuneScape 3, all of the quests really feel like you're going on an adventure. I mean, even the first very quest that you're probably going to start doing, which is the cook's assistant. You're there in Lumbridge, this cook doesn't know how to freaking bake a cake, he sends you off to go and collect all the ingredients that you need, you come back, you cook the cake for him, and you just save the day really. You've saved him from getting an absolutely massive ass beating from the king. So the quests just really give you a sense of you are doing something that you really should be doing, and it gives you like a purpose in the game and makes you feel like it's all worth the time that you are doing. Not to mention, when you do complete a quest, you are given rewards that are worth the time that you do. Not just some measly experience, but you do get experience for all the skills that you tend to use in that quest, but also they usually give you rewards that benefit your person and things that you'll be able to keep throughout your whole sort of journey in this game. There's other quests in this game that will send you on massive adventures. They'll take hours and hours to complete, but once you finish completing that quest, do you feel like you've been on a frigging quest? You don't feel like you've just gone and killed 200 monsters, because that's the long quests in the other games, or it's not just dead, go and kill this boss. It's been something that there's been a story behind it, there's been voice acting. everything's gone wrong, but when shit hits the fan, you're the person who's there to clean it up, you're the person who's gone on the adventure, and you're the person who walks away from that feeling like an absolute hero. So the quests in this game are all something that make you want to complete them all, makes it feel like you've actually gone out and been on an adventure. And this feeling is something that a lot of bigger MMORPGs lack, because when you're doing the quests it feels like a grind, whereas in RuneScape 3 the quests feel like a real adventure and you feel like you've gone somewhere and you feel like it's all been done with purpose. Well then, that's my thoughts on what RuneScape 3 does incredibly well. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, let me know what you think this game does perfectly, what you love about it, and what's kept you playing for years and years, or if you've just started playing recently, why have you stuck around? What does this game do for you that you absolutely love? Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, which I obviously hope you did, leave a like and let me know, and also, if you enjoy the content, thought it was something quite interesting, then maybe subscribe and stick around for the future videos. I am going to be following this series through and covering quite a lot of MMOs, so if you have any other suggestions on games that you want me to do next, drop them in the comments as well. I really think that old school RuneScape might be the next one, or maybe I'll leave a little gap just because they're probably going to have quite a few reasons quite similar to this one. But let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I'll definitely take them into account as I always do. Anyway guys, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, a hell of a lot of you people who watch my channel are not subscribed, so consider subscribing, and that way you won't miss out on any future videos like this. And that's pretty much it from me today, so thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. See you later guys, bye.